So, what's the point of it all? I mean, really, in a universe with 100 billion galaxies, what does one single human life even mean? It's a question that can feel, well, pretty overwhelming. But for the astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson, the answer isn't something you go looking for, it's something you create. Today, we're going to dive into his powerful philosophy on how we can actually manufacture meaning and find our real place in the cosmos. Let's get into it.
And this is the big one, isn't it? Do we matter? It's the question that keeps us up at night. And, as you're about to see, Neil deGrasse Tyson's answer starts by, challenging our ego a little bit. He uses the absolutely mind-boggling scale of the universe to make us face our own insignificance. Or maybe our lack of it.
Okay, so where do you even start with a question that huge? Well, Tyson says we're actually starting in the wrong place. He argues that meaning isn't something you find, like you lost your car keys. No, it's something you build. Just look at this comparison here. The column on the left, searching for meaning, it's totally passive, right? It's about waiting for the universe to just hand you an answer. But the column on the right, creating meaning, that is all about action. It completely reframes the question from where do I find it to how do I create it? And that simple shift, it puts all the responsibility and all the power right back in your hands. This quote just nails it. And that word, manufacture, is so important. He chose it for a reason. It suggests that meaning isn't some, magical pre-written destiny. It's something you engineer piece by piece with every single choice you make. And honestly, that is an incredibly freeing idea.
All right, so if we're going to be the manufacturers of our own meaning, what tools do we need? What's in the toolkit? Well, Tyson lays out a pretty clear blueprint for how to turn just raw experience into something much, much deeper: wisdom. This is the how-to part of building a meaningful life.
He calls this whole process the path to wisdom. Think about it like this. Data is just a list of temperatures. Information is seeing that, hey, it's getting colder every day. Knowledge is understanding that winter is coming, so you should probably buy a coat. But wisdom? Wisdom is that deep, gut-level understanding that comes way after all of that. I absolutely love this definition. Wisdom isn't about remembering every single detail. It's what you understand after you've forgotten all the little details. It's the essential truth that just sticks with you, The thing that shapes how you see everything. It's the lesson, not the lecture. So, how do we get this wisdom? Well, the steps are surprisingly simple, though that doesn't mean they're easy. First, just pay attention. Be alert. Next, be curious enough to learn something new every single day. And finally, when you mess up, and you will, we all do, don't just brush it off. Really look at it. Learn from it so you don't make that same mistake twice. That's how you turn failure into fuel.
And now, we're going to zoom out, like way, way out. We've been looking at the personal toolkit for creating meaning inside ourselves. So let's shift to the universal and see how looking up at the stars can totally change how we look at ourselves and at each other.
You know this feeling. It's the first thing that hits you when you really truly think about the cosmos. You look up at that endless night sky packed with stars and galaxies, and you just can't help but feel completely and utterly insignificant. But here's the Tyson twist. That feeling of being small, it's not a bad thing. In fact, it's a good thing. It's a necessary ego check. It's the universe gently reminding you that, hey, you're not the center of it all. And that humility, he says, is the real starting point for true compassion.
And nothing, I mean nothing, shows this idea of cosmic humility better than Tyson's own story about his hero, Carl Sagan. Just imagine this. When Tyson was only 17, he gets invited to visit Sagan at Cornell. Sagan, who was a world-famous scientist, spent his entire Saturday with this unknown kid from the Bronx. He gave him a tour, signed a book for him, and when it started to snow, he gave Tyson his home phone number and said, "Hey, if the bus can't get through, just call me. You can stay with my family." For Tyson, that day wasn't just about science. It was a life-changing lesson in the kind of human being he wanted to be.
And you can see how that one act of kindness from Sagan completely shaped Tyson's philosophy. This quote right here is the practical result of that cosmic perspective. When you realize just how small and connected we all are, it becomes so clear that all we really have is each other. And maybe the most meaningful thing you can do is just lessen the suffering of someone else.
And this all leads to what is, for me, the most profound, mind-blowing idea in this whole cosmic perspective. It isn't about how separate we are from the universe. It's about our deep, physical connection to it. Seriously, get ready for this.
This is not poetry. It's not a cute metaphor. It is a literal scientific fact. The carbon in your bones, the oxygen you're breathing, the iron in your blood, every single heavy element that makes you you was forged in the fiery heart of a star that exploded billions of years ago. We are, quite literally, made of stardust.
And once you get that, it changes everything. The universe isn't some far-off thing we just look at through a telescope, it's in us. The cosmos isn't just out there, it is flowing through your veins right now. You don't just live in the universe lives in you.
And that understanding leads to this totally new way of thinking about what it means to be special. The old view, on the left, is all about how we're different from each other. That's the root of so much tribalism and conflict. But the cosmic view, on the right, says our specialness comes from what we all share, our common chemistry, our shared birthday in the stars. And man, it is a lot harder to hate someone when you remember you're both made of the exact same stardust.
So, this brings us to the final, powerful mandate. We've journeyed from our inner world, all the way out to the cosmos. And now, we turn our gaze back home, to our own planet, as seen from the unbelievable emptiness of deep space.
This, of course, brings us to the famous pale blue dot. It's a photo of Earth taken by the Voyager 1 spacecraft from about 4 billion miles away. Carl Sagan wrote this beautiful passage about it that Tyson loves to recite, and he just asks us to look at it, to really consider that single tiny pixel of light. Because on that tiny dot is, well, everything. Everything that has ever happened in human history. Every person you've ever loved, every leader you've ever heard of, every king, every peasant, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every saint and sinner, live their lives right there.
And then he just delivers this incredible, humbling line. Our entire world, all our triumphs and tragedies, all our art, all our wars, it all happened right there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Wow. It just puts everything into perspective, doesn't it? This is that ego check we talked about earlier, but on the ultimate scale. From that far away, all of our posturing, our imagined self-importance, our delusion that we're somehow special, it all just evaporates. It's impossible to look at that picture and not feel profoundly humbled.
And that deep humility leads us to this final, inescapable conclusion. If this is it, if we're all just stuck together on this fragile little dot in the vast cosmic dark, how can we possibly justify being anything but kind to one another? How can we do anything but preserve and cherish the only home we have ever known?
So, we end right back where we started, with that same question, do we matter? But now, hopefully we have a new way to think about it. The universe doesn't owe us meaning, but from this cosmic perspective, maybe we owe it to each other. The power to manufacture that meaning is in your hands. So the only question left is, what will you create today?